¿Qué pasa, gente? Aquí Ryzen Black en un nuevo video y tienen mi voz en off en este caso. Y quiero decirles que el video de hoy realmente es la misión de cómo conseguir la tetera. Ya he estado experimentando un poco con ella, ya he hecho cosas con ella, mejor dicho. El día de mañana tendréis la guía. Este video lo subiré hoy a la noche, hoy 28 de la noche, lo subiré y mañana tendréis la guía 100% ya explicada. Y solo quería ver eso, será que cuando comencé esto la misión ya estaba comenzada porque borré sin querer esa parte, hubo un fallo mío y borré esa parte del video y bueno, aún así no hice nada, apenas hablé con la abuelita, como le digo yo, y ya, no hay nada más que decir, espero que os guste el video y nos vemos en la próxima, bye bye. Estuve revisando la grabación, yo sé que es un poco incómodo y que diciendo esto, pero tengo que hacerlo para verificar que todo salga bien y que no haya ningún problema en el juego. Y mostrarle lo mejor posible todo. Un pequeño problemita y pues vaya. Pero sí, es un poco... Me parece incómodo que todo el rato se hace el... Ahí, pero ahora lo malo es que... Ahora es que carga un poquito lento porque está usando eh, otro programa que bueno consume más de computador como tal, pero evita ruidos. Lo más probable es que evite el ruido de fondo, porque fue el mismo que usé para grabar otras cosas. Cosas de la universidad, trabajo, etc. Y creo que debería estar bien. Aquí estamos con este joven. Bueno, joven. Creo que no era este. Sí, creo que no es este. Bla, bla, bla. Vale. Hola. Ya llegamos. Hola, joven, ¿cómo estás? Este es más joven.
Hello, Mr. Crossell. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here today?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any further developments on this front?
Um, well, yes, as a matter of fact, in the end I did acquire a small piece of smaragdus jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hairpins. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize, I've already rented them out to a lady named Chiao.
Wait, isn't smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss Chiao before renting them to her.
A tirar los contratos, señores.
The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for its full original value.
Entendible, es lo normal si se da por entendido.
In return, I included a clause that guarantees the smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me to Ms. Jiqiao in the event that it is shown to be a fake.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false. Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Chiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossell. We'll be off now.
Vale. Sube, coño. Vaya por Dios. Por cosas como esta me cerró un poco el issue. No puedes escalar tranquilo. Uh, esa carita ahí.
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I c-
How do you do, Monsieur Chow? We understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind
The hairpins? I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value, my family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since the chasm was sealed off. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around, so we've been having to purchase some stock from other ore merchants to complete them. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep, but now that I've lost the...
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of deja vu?
Quitar que esta parte que hicimos, dejármelo a mí. Típico.
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I have...
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Monsieur Chow, would you let me have a look at the rental contract you signed?
Huh? Well,
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? True.
Ni cancelé lo que
There must
decía,
be
solo
a
vi la opción y
win-win
ya está.
solution.
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the original value of the hairpins as compensation for the loss. Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must take current market prices into account. And given the rarity of Smaragdus jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation may end up being significantly higher as a result.
even higher. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Yuchou looks...
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so... Whichever way you look at it, we've got...
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need.
Seems right.
Please. Please, however much it is, I will have to...
Blah, blah, blah,
now
blah.
that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossell in the dark any longer.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have so hold on a moment, Mr. Chow.
What did I feel? Well, my family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past.
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things.
Bueno, típica misión de ir aquí, ir allá, ir aquí, ir allá, ir aquí, ir allá. Si tú hizo un 20 veces más fácil ir allá arriba, pero bueno. Todo lo que sube tiene que bajar.
Guaranteed, or
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official...
thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow.
Huepa.
I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's...
Me dice que son falsas, es una locura así. Tú tanto un fatui que cancelé por ahí. Y bueno, como buen fatui que es, no se puede confiar. Cabe decir que este juego es hermoso. Este juego es definitivamente hermoso. Es decir, mi mapa no me carga en lo absoluto. Hola, soy Chun-Li. Voy a entrarme acá de nuevo. Vamos para acá.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you...
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not...
What do you mean?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say, I don't know if Granny told you this, But Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
A no ser que haya hecho el cambio de personalidad al tocarlas. Es una posibilidad. Vamos a ver el comeback, no sé.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier, if I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus jadeite in his possession.
Oye, no me di cuenta que Yanfei tiene algo en la mano. No sé si se alcanza a ver. Tiene un loquito todo raro en la mano.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now.
Right
and expose
now!
his dirty scam right to his face.
Me encanta Paimon.
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit, and then he'd throw the Smaragdus jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that...
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Puede ser.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this,
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow.
Huh? Does there have to be a
Contract.
contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track.
Total, tiene que pegar un moro por cada vez que escuche la palabra contrato. Estando en Liyue, bueno, es el día a día.
Feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than us.
These are my formal terms of engagement.
Tiene por aquí
Everything
que lo tenemos.
prior to now has just been pro bono
Papucho Shonli.
advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well.
La cara de Paimon.
And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page.
Está bien,
Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a
toma una
handprint
fotico
over
ahí.
here.
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written.
you've had to read.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this... I don't believe you have been part of an investigation.
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of... Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mist. If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would...
Lo dejamos justamente hablando con Yanfei y la señorita esta que me importa el nombre como menos 5. Un chico que hay especiales de Liyue. Y pues llegamos a la conclusión que tal vez el Minecrons, creo que hay que cancelar el nombre, no está usando el mineral que debería, sino una estafa, típico de los Fatui. Y aquí está Shitoi, líder de los mineros, del comandante de mineros, una locura así.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh, it's you, Miss
It's you,
Yanfei.
Yanfei.
Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and...
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnayan merchant named Crossell enlisted your ore processing services recently, but...
A Snezhnayan merchant named Crossell, you say? I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore, claiming that it was Smaragdus jadeite. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. But if a customer insists, far be it from me to contradict them. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore as per his request. Why, yes! It was my first time encountering.
Thank you, sir. We'll take.
Try your luck betting on Jade?
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patterning suggest that, yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite?
Is that so? Well, so did you find it?
Lo probé antes. ¿Verdad? Sí.
So they really are different.
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of the market price. And, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Cross...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them.
Make people smile.
Miss Yenfei? Might I be...
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr.
Yes, that's right. I still have a record.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the process?
Of course. But might I ask why you need them?
¿Qué tan nervioso, joven?
Oh, I have my reasons. Ah, yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these...
Yes, I see.
I wouldn't say there's been an incident. Just a minor issue.
With this hard evidence to back...
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think.
Saca el libro de la nada. Genial.
Jewelry. Aha! Got it! Singxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick.
Because lots of people come to me for legal As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, but the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily. As such, legal advisors...
So you help them make sense of the law?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle, because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor. Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again, with that casual tone.
Just the tongue.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for
Unos cachaponcitos por aquí.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time...
A ver, quiero comprobar una cosita. Vale. Me gusta. Está viendo cosas.
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask. Has a merchant by the name of...
Krosel. Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yes, he came to... The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate. This order was on hold for a very long...
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be...
Miss Singxi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossel
Yes, I'm sure of it. Mr. Krosel wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedure. I also kept a copy for my own records. The inlaid...
Thank you, Singxi.
Vale,
Sure, it isn't
gracias.
serving much purpose.
Bla bla bla.
Nothing you need to worry about. Just a minor issue.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or some big...
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need.
Con
We just
Baizhu.
need to make one last trip.
Por favor,
Let's
que
go
te
to Boo Boo
chiche.
Pharmacy to speak with Dr. Baizhu.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to...
Shonli en Shonli. Y en Tart de ahora está Chichi. No, a ver. No, ¿dónde está Chichi? Ahora sí.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little
Rayos.
Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs.
Green herbs. Digo.
And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What
Rarer
business brings
honor.
you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No sabe, se me olvidó completamente que este hombre hablaba así.
No. I'm here this time to ask...
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the Seven Mountain Treat. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period... I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an...
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baizhu.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a... But after I gave him my reply, his expression shift. I wonder, Miss Yenfei.
Ah,
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Ok, ya salió. Escuché bien, señorita Yanfei ha terminado su investigación. Confío en que ahora estará en condiciones de evaluar la compensación.
yes. My investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Oh,
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus Jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow was, in fact, Smaragdus Nephrite.
mucho texto.
Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Mr. Chow in Mora.
Bueno, es que de la visión legendaria de Chun-Li y me di cuenta que esta vaina es arma de doble filo.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus Jadeite, and yet you.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question.
A ver, espérate. Solo el testimonio de un testigo experto involucrado en el procesamiento del mineral puede servir como prueba legítima en su utilización. Viajera, muestra pruebas.
This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus Jadeite and Smaragdus Nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus Nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite. So I had him cut away the Nephrite, he returned the valuable Jadeite core to me, and some Nephrite samples remained.
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Sí.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated.
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him.
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him, Traveler.
This document proves.
Our second piece of evidence.
You know, you could be right. Perhaps.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown
Bla, bla,
supports
bla.
my...
Muchas-
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet.
Oh, esos ojos, Dios santo.
Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as decisive.
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic change of personality and fall seriously ill. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of Smaragdus jadeite?
Pues la cara de como... Ya valiste, puto.
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the... However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the... I trust that you'll give them your full...
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand, why would you...
Huh? No, I...
Aren't actually inlaid with genuine Smaragdus jadeite? Is that what you were about to say? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to... Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
Opa.
I...
La cara se la cargó bien.
Yep, he's seriously intimidating
Sí,
right now.
total.
It's like she's a different person.
I admit it. I confess. But I'm a victim in all of this, too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of Smaragdus jadeite, in the hopes of turning it into a piece. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover... That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinguishable from... I kept the real Smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I was worried that someone would see through it.
Exactly. If they weren't to be...
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew they'd be watching closely. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client.
10 times.
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow,
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus jadeite.
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to... Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them.
Ms.
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite...
What? But all right then.
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust...
well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go. But whatever.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to...
Oh, come on. No need to stand on... Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no...
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the... If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and...
Let me think for a moment.
Está calladito, pero está interesante esta vaina.
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too.
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all... even though...
The right solution depends on your The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay an Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Rise!
Well, since we got what we came for...
Hallelujah.
Ah, you've returned.
Perfecto.
How did it go? Were you good? Good.
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton of
Oh, you. All right then.
I'm off then. Bye. Oh yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the business card I gave you.
Pilar ahí atravesado.
I've been looking into the laws of other nations as
Opa.
well. If you should ever bump into...
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no wish to leave, perhaps you...
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Ya te tiene esta vuelta a mierda.
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly so... Ah, indeed she is. Liyue has changed. Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most Liyue is not the same place I once
El
knew.
lápiz se murió. Entre comillas. Pero shh.
All right then. Let us speak of this.
Oh, Paimon's so excited.
Listo.
Hold it firmly.
Bien
If
que
you
le
were
botón,
to
pero
drop
bueno.
it. Oh, goodness.
Oh.
Who knows what might happen?
Yo reference, papá.
Take these blueprints with you as well.
Blueprint.
You'll need...
Wait a minute, Granny.
Oh, you needn't worry about that.
Unga, unga. Unga, unga. La tenemos, gente. La tenemos. Aquí está, mírenla. Guau. A ver, morada flotante. Un archipiélago que flota en el aire en un diseño de mundo interior que los adeptos usan como frecuencia. Una vasta extensión de cielo y tierra que no hay nada más que islas. Cima esmeralda. La cima de una montaña que atraviesa las nubes. Bueno, al menos eso parece. Pero, como está por dentro de la tetera, la montaña no puede ser mucho más alta que una hoja de té. Un archipiélago rodeado de aguas. ¿Cuántas tazas de té podría servirse en un vasto lleno de océano? Y creo que usaré este. Me llama mucho la isla, pero por ahora este. Oh. Iba a decir los monsoon wine, pero bueno. Los monsoon wine taste the same as I remember, but we're those to share the memories. En fin, ya lo dije. Estoy grabando esto a las 12 de la noche teniendo clase mañana. Soy un capo. Uy. Puedo ser un poco bajita la voz, eso espero. Intento no exaltarme tanto para evitarme problemas. Y bueno, entramos.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame Ping, huh? But there's just a whole load of nothing around it.
Pueden ver la pica unas piedras para construir otra casa.
Hey! There's a perfectly good house right over there! Why should Paimon have to live in a hole in the ground? Still, why is it so... Oh, wait.
Y bueno, epa, aquí está. Epa, epa. No alcancé a verlo, pero había unas monedas arriba, como vieron. Pero bueno, vamos a hablar con este señorcito.
Wow, it seems that we have a visitor.
Esta voz me parece mucho a alguien, pero no recuerdo a quién.
It's a huge finch!
Excuse me, I am not a... hang on a moment.
Opa, amnesia.
What am I supposed to be called again?
Bueno, no sé si trío amnesia o qué, porque... en este caso Luminé, en Brota, no sé si tiene amnesia, no, nunca lo... Parece, yo creo que no, pero bueno. El Paimon sí tiene y este sí tiene. Entonces, el dúo de amnesia, el trío, queda por confirmar.
Oh, call me. I suppose you may call me Tubby.
So you're the little helper.
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean Ping. You may leave all matter. Your journey may be far from over. But at least this way, though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, thus, we teapot spirits were created to help guard their realm. You may consider me. Now, allow me to... Have you any blueprints on you? As long as
Sí.
you have a blueprint, you can refashion the...
Blueprints? Oh,
Toma.
Yes, these are... Just commit, then simply...
wow. Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't we?
Sí, se está durmiendo el bichito.
I doubt it. A golden-eyed adeptus, he said that even though subspace create this world is not a true one after all. It provides mere...
A golden-eyed adeptus? Paimon wonders who could that be?
I hardly remember myself. What's more, well, let's not dwell on that. If there's a...
Ah, bueno, importa. Quiero... Tengo que tener lentamente con ella para entrar una vez en el centrito de poder usarla para... Intertocar y salir de igual modo es posible relatar el mapa escribiendo un punto de teletransporte. Ok. Hablar con el espíritu de la ratetera para hacer sobre gestionar los asuntos. Puedes crear todo tipo de objetos de la interfaz. Ya esto ya lo hice al principio para comprobarlo. Puedes colocar... Esto es lo que yo decía. La moneda. Podrás colocar decoraciones para aumentar tu nivel de energía adéptica si tú relajatetera.
Boats
Uy,
are made
perdón.
for transferring commodities
A medida de
back
que
and
aumente el nivel
forth,
de energía
and those that come across Lure
adéptica,
tend to stay
acumularás
a while. So it is where many
intramora
things
más
come to
deprisa.
settle.
Ok. Ok, tú puedes comprarlo una vez ambulante. ¿Cómo? De vez en cuando un espíritu ambulante de la tetera vendrá a visitar tu mundo interior. Hay posibilidad de que tenga... Vale. Me gusta. No crean esto, pero estoy muy emocionado. No es la... Dios. Parece una bobada, pero esto me encanta. A ver. Voy a poner mientras tanto así, o sea. Ok. Buah. Literalmente una... Me acaban de desilusionar la vida. O sea, que es un video larguito. Pero, bueno, es el nuevo contenido del juego. Ay, lo siento, pero debe estar un poco apagado. Pero, bueno. Esta roca está un poco al tuntún, pero se puede mejorar. Bueno, gente, plan de acción. Plan de acción, gente. Por hoy vamos a dejarlo. Mañana me levantaré temprano. Editaré este video. En el mismo tiempo estaré grabando, cuando esté editando el video, la otra parte del... La segunda parte, bueno, la misión legendaria de Sean, los Goats y ya quedarán para más luego. Y luego de eso ya me pondré en modo serio y haré una guía o en un tutorial de cómo funciona esto. Ahorita me pondré a cacharrear mientras se guarda el video y todo ese cuento. Me pondré a cacharrear aquí y ver qué tal salen las vainas, de empapar un poco del tema para no salir con babosadas o cosas por el estilo. Y pues eso sería todo. Muchas gracias por estar un día más acá aguantándome un segundo video, que creo que puede quedar bien, puede quedar mal, no sé. Habrá que ver cómo les visto. Pero bueno, eso ha sido todo y nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.